All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to dive into something truly fascinating, fungal nutrition. We're going to explore the unique and frankly brilliant ways the fungi kingdom gets its food, a process that makes them without a doubt nature's most important recyclers.
So, let me start by throwing a bit of a puzzle your way. How can you possibly digest your food before you even eat it? Now that might sound like a riddle, right? But for the entire fungi kingdom, it's just how they live their lives every single day.
And here it is, the answer to that puzzle. The secret is that fungi are nature's expert external digesters. Think about that for a second. They break down their food on the outside of their bodies. That's their whole game plan. Now, there's a scientific term for this, of course. We call them chemoheterotrophs. It's a big word, but it just means they get both their building blocks, carbon, and their energy from organic stuff made by other living things. The best way to picture it? Think of them as a super specialized recycling plant, one that takes complex waste and turns it back into valuable resources for the whole ecosystem. And this, right here, is the absolute fundamental difference between us and fungi. Animals, that includes you and me, we rely on ingestion. We eat first, and then all the digestion happens inside our bodies. Fungi, they do the complete opposite. They use absorption. They digest their food first, out in the open, and then they just soak up all the nutrients. It's a total game changer.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at how fungi eat. Then we'll explore their massive role as recyclers. After that, we'll check out their darker side, the parasites and predators. Then we'll see their cooperative side with powerful partnerships. And finally, we'll tie it all together and see why fungi matter so much.
Okay, let's dive right into section 1. How in the world do fungi actually eat? What is this master key mechanism they use?
It really boils down to a super elegant two-step process. Step 1, secretion. Fungi pump out these powerful chemicals called extracellular enzymes right into their environment. Step 2, absorption. These enzymes get to work, breaking down all the complex organic stuff into tiny, simple molecules. Then, the fungi can just absorb them. So, the key takeaway is, digestion happens before absorption. And these enzymes are no joke. They are so incredibly powerful that they can break down some of the toughest materials on the planet, like wood. Wood is packed with stuff like cellulose and an even more complex, really tough compound called lignin. Breaking that down is a huge chemical challenge, but for fungi, it's what they do best.
Let's zoom in on a specific example. Take the enzyme cellulase. It works exactly like a lock and key. This specific key, cellulase, is designed to fit only one lock, cellulose. And when it connects, it breaks that cellulose down into simple sugars, which is the perfect fuel for the fungus.
So how does all this absorption happen so efficiently? Well, it's all thanks to a structure called the mycelium, or in Hindi, mycelium. This is this huge, sprawling network of tiny fungal threads called hyphae. This network creates an absolutely massive surface area, which is perfect for soaking up as many nutrients as possible from the environment.
This incredible digestive ability leads us right into their most famous role. Let's talk about the great recyclers of the planet, a group known as the saprophytes.
So saprophytes are the fungi that get their food from dead and decaying things, like fallen leaves, dead trees, that sort of thing. You've definitely seen them, like rhizopus, the common bread mold. They are the world's most important decomposers. They're experts at breaking down that tough lignin, and in doing so, they return essential nutrients, we're talking carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus, right back into the ecosystem so new life can grow.
But, not all fungi are such peaceful recyclers. Some of them have developed, well, let's call them more aggressive strategies. This brings us to section 3, parasites and predators, the fungi that are experts at stealing from the living.
See, some fungi are what we call obligate parasites. What does that mean? It means they absolutely cannot survive without a living host. A classic example you might see on plants is Puccinia, also known as rust fungus. It has to infect a living plant to complete its life cycle.
And to pull this off, these parasitic fungi have evolved a very special tool called haustoria, or haustoria. These are basically microscopic probes, specialized structures that actually penetrate right into the living cells of their host to siphon off nutrients directly.
And get this, It gets even wilder. A small number of fungi are actual predators. They use their hyphae to create these tiny loops or sticky nets in the soil to trap microscopic organisms, like little worms called nematodes, and then they digest them. Amazing, right?
Okay, so we've seen the recyclers and the thieves. Now let's look at the collaborators. Section 4 is all about their powerful partnerships, a strategy we call mutualism, where everybody wins.
We're talking about incredible win-win relationships here. Two fantastic examples. First up, lichens. In a lichen, the fungus creates a safe, protected home for an alga. In return, the alga, which can photosynthesize, provides sugary food for the fungus. Then there's mycorrhizae. This is a partnership between fungi and plant roots. The fungus acts like an extension of the root system, helping the plant absorb water and minerals, and the plant pays it back with sugars.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's pull all these threads together now and look at the big picture in our final section, why fungi matter.
This little chart here does a great job of summing up the three main strategies we've discussed. You've got the saprophytic mode, which feeds on dead stuff and causes decomposing. The parasitic mode, which feeds on a living host causing harm or disease. And the mutualistic mode, which works with a partner for mutual benefit.
And believe me, their impact is felt all across the globe. They're absolutely essential for nutrient cycling, recycling carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus. They're powerhouses in biotechnology. They're critical for plant health through mycorrhizae, and they even play a complex role in aquatic food webs through a process called the mycoloop.
And let's make this real for a second. Think about your bread or your beer. Fungal enzymes, like one called amylase, are used on a massive industrial scale in baking and brewing. They do the heavy lifting of breaking down starches, a step that is absolutely essential for those processes.
And so we'll end right where we started, with the single most important takeaway from all of this. For animals, it's ingestion. We eat first, then we digest on the inside. But for fungi, it's all about absorption. They digest first, on the outside, and then they soak up the nutrients. This simple, fundamental difference is what makes fungi our planet's master recyclers and a truly unique and amazing kingdom of life.